What it do, what it do. It's the two, Master Chief Wezi and my guest, Nicole.
Hello again.
Welcome back, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to have you back.
Thank you so much. It's been a long time.
You're gonna
You
be
know what I mean?
a regular guest at this point.
Yeah, soft launching the new member.
Yeah. People will be back. This one has been on.
Okay.
Like 5 episodes in a row now. What's going on?
Just wait.
Real. So real, man. But no, it's good. It's good to have you back.
Thank you.
We've been having a
thank
lot
you.
of good discussions.
Good moments.
Yeah, good moments
Yeah.
as well. People enjoyed our last episode as well.
That's good to hear,
They said
actually.
it was good to just hear like a whole brother-sister conversation like that. It was wholesome.
Yeah.
So I think that was good. Yeah, it was. It was definitely wholesome.
It was.
I think.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Me too. Me too. And I'm glad that people also enjoyed it as well. They commented, hit me up about it and stuff like that. So I think that was a good touch from what we've sort of been having throughout this whole year, at least, or at least throughout our current rollout. So
Yeah.
that's been a good touch.
Also, by the way, I didn't mention
Hmm.
last time, but happy mental health men's.
Yeah. Shout out.
That one.
Shout out.
Yeah.
First of all, let's rewind real quick. What did you say? Hold on.
Men's mental health month.
Okay, yeah. Shout out.
Tomorrow's
Shout out.
even Father's Day. I think.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So Nicole's kind of spoiled it that we are recording on a Saturday. But
Oh.
yeah, no, it's just
right.
okay.
Right.
It's just like
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. But actually, now that you've sort of brought that up, I think, to be honest, seeing as the month is going to end, I think it will actually be a very good topic to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we had something else in mind for this one, but now let's actually jump into this one. And I think why I also think it's a good one is because there was a time when Kat posted about this, sort of being like, I think it was in relation to how men have been when women are doing, or at least talking and advocating for their own mental health and for their own wellness in general, right? And sort of how men have sort of been like, oh, now when it's our turn, like when it's for us, you guys are not doing anything, yada kind of thing, Because if we're being quite honest, I at least haven't seen a lot go out from men sort of talking about it. Even if they have spoken about it, it might be like a post or two, but nothing really like, there's been no talks like I've seen. There might have been, but like nothing that I've seen to be like, oh wow, there's a seminar on this.
Yeah.
There's, you know what I mean? Like all these kind of things where a lot of times we see a lot of talks about business and leadership and whatever from men or from whatever. But are we really seeing it when it's a whole month dedicated to men's mental health?
Yeah.
Not really.
Exactly.
And so when she spoke about it, I really, really did find it interesting. I was like, that is such a good point, actually. Like, and honestly, just being a guy in this day and age right now, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on mentally. It's very tricky. It's very scary. I think for some more than others, of course. But yeah. I guess while I'm saying this, are there sort of any questions that have sort of like come up that maybe you would want to ask rather than me just rambling on? Because I would just ramble on, but like, what are we really going to like necessarily discuss? If you get my point.
I think off of what you even just mentioned, about being a man in today's age, I want to ask, or I'm interested rather in what's something that you've noticed? Because obviously our generation in general is quite an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Our lives are quite different. Our
Yeah.
development is quite different and unique.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that we're processing things, or even the things that we have to process, is quite unique from the generations before us.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you think mental health has been, in terms of men, obviously, how do you think it's been, number one, talked about, or what do you think it focuses on, or what do you think the difference, what do you think it's like to handle mental health or that aspect in this generation that you think is different, good or bad?
Damn. That's a
That's
tough
a loaded
question.
question.
It's a tough question. It is a tough question because um first, how mental health has been, I guess, spoken about. That was the first part, right?
Yeah.
For us growing up, mental health has, for me, it's been a topic that has been reoccurring more and more as I've gotten older,
Mm-hmm.
but it's never, again, I'm just speaking for myself here, it's never been something where I have felt like, oh, you know what? Um, Maybe the neighborhood here has sort of taken an interest in the guys and
Mm-hmm.
wanting to sort of like do something about it,
Mm-hmm.
right? We obviously know that there's a high rate of suicides within men and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, right? And if I'm not mistaken, from the last time I heard and read about it, I believe like men had a higher rate of suicide than women, if I'm not mistaken, something like that.
Yeah.
And so that obviously is connected to a lot of different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while that number is high, I'm not entirely sure if I have seen anything about it being done. I've had
Yeah.
friends here in Zambia that have committed suicide. And
Really?
yet, yeah,
Oh.
and yet what was really done after that,
Yeah.
besides the whole fact of like, cool, it really hit. And obviously there was pain. And maybe you spoke about it here and there to a few people, but we didn't really go and do anything about it. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like, I still remember, I think the first one I sort of experienced who was like someone I remember. And I wouldn't say like we were close, but like, he was like a senior to me in high school.
Mm-hmm.
He was like a few years, maybe the year above, or maybe like 2 years, something. I can't remember. But one of those things was like, yo, I just saw you yesterday and we were laughing and we were having such a good time
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff, you know? And then it's like the following day you hear that, like, oh, this person has committed suicide, kind of thing. And I remember that day like it was yesterday, like when I received the news, I remember being at school. I remember like going to the bathroom and just, I looked at myself and I just cried.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's also crazy because it's one of the few times I can count in my hands of remembering that I cried.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I can probably count to my hands maybe 10 times or less or something. I can say like, yeah, I
Really?
cried. Yeah. There's not, there are many times I can say like, yeah, no, like, hey, yeah, I cried then and I cried this time and I cried then, and they're like 20 plus moments. Nah. We're
That's
obviously excluding
interesting.
like being beaten by our parents or like whatever
Oh
it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, obviously like excluding those moments. But
Not even heartbreak.
no, but again, I can still count them.
Hey.
You get what I'm saying? Like it's still in the hands where I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Maybe I cried. Maybe that heartbreak happened. I cried about it 2 times, or I cried about it
That's
once.
interesting.
You get
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So it's a very interesting part. Yeah. Please remind me what the other part of the question was.
Um, just the different,
Oh, you spoke about generations as well, right?
yeah,
Sort of
like
like
the
how they
difference
see it.
between, obviously we haven't seen that many generations, but even like
Right.
from what you've read or whatnot, or what we can gather.
I think what's really, really disturbing us now, or at least what's making it a lot worse, is we have been brought up by social media,
Yeah.
which is very detrimental to one's health,
Mm-hmm.
especially, which is, I think, a growing issue right now. And that's a lack of identity in men.
Mm-hmm.
right? Of really just knowing one, like, okay, what is a man? Two, who are you as a man?
Mhm.
Right? You as an individual, like who are you? And sort of like what do you bring to the world, to the society, right? To
Mhm.
your neighborhood, to your social life, your circle, all that kind of stuff, right? And the issue now is that a lot of it is being tied, or at least the worth is being tied to what you provide. And what you
Mhm.
provide now is very financial more than anything,
Yeah.
right? It's not now, it's not about like protection. It's not about giving you or whatever it is. It's very much on the money,
Yeah.
right? Do you have enough money to ball out, to impress the men and the women around you, all that
Mhm.
kind of stuff? You know, can you build a house? Can you travel? Can you yada yada, yada, all those kind of
Yeah.
stuff, right? That's what a man's worth has sort of been reduced to right now, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have that, and we see it all across social media, if you don't have it, then who are you? If you can't take a lady on a date, if you can't give her, I don't know, 2K, if you can't give her 5K, 10,000 for hair, whatever, then
Yeah.
you're useless. Another man can do that for me, right?
Yeah.
And the blame, honestly, is on both sides. It's both men and women.
Yeah.
Men on the side that, like, yes, we are allowing ourselves to be dictated by it,
Mhm.
right? And on women's side, being that they have gotten to this point where they are very much. This part, I believe, is a consequence of a few different things. Mainly, I think is also a lack or maybe a disconnect from, I don't want to say religion, but maybe spirituality, maybe like on my end being a Christian, for example, right? So maybe for the
Yeah, yeah,
Lord
yeah, yeah.
being that, right?
Mhm.
That you understand, like, okay, as a woman, whether or not you're making the bread or whatever, there's a role for a man and there's a role for a woman.
Yeah.
There's purpose for both,
Yeah.
right? But now it's this thing of, okay, if I'm making more than him, he's useless. What does he bring to the table now? Then there's no
Yeah.
role of it. There's no role.
Mhm.
Then what? You know what I mean? And I hear a lot of it happening, which is very sad. It's like, damn,
Yeah.
like that's how you really feel about it? Like, what? Because now you're almost saying that there's no role for a father in a son's life or even in daughter's life,
Mhm.
which is wrong to
Mhm.
say. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like in people's lives, it's not just about the money. If it was about the money, we would see that all these rich families or whatever weren't having problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if it was always just about the money, rich friends wouldn't be having family problems in XYZ
Hello,
because
they have
you have
problems.
the shit, they have the problems. Last number. You know what I mean? Like, to the core. And so that's where it's just a shame because you lose a job and it's like, oh, you lost your job?
Mhm.
I can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now it becomes a lot harder. If that happens so frequently, how do you expect the person to now want to open up to anybody?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
that's what the tie is, how do I really talk to you about a problem?
Mhm.
Because it's almost supposed to look like we are bulletproof, like we can't have an issue.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? But anyways, let me not like ramble on about that. I don't know if you've had like any questions upon like what I've said, or you want to get into something from what I said.
I
I know I
think
could continue on.
like what you said with like the I think even where we're at now with like AI and the internet and all those things,
Mm.
I feel like you need to be that much more exceptional to be given the
Right.
time of day,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
So even if you have a normal job, a lot of the times that's not even enough.
Oh yeah, not at
You
all.
need to be everyone wants to be the millionaire because only the guy at the top will get
Can cast the biggest net,
yeah,
basically.
will
Yeah.
be treated like a human being
Which is crazy.
basically,
Yeah.
which is really hard and really sad. And I feel for the men in that aspect as well. And that's also why I've noticed like with the internet, people are will look for friends on the internet. People will look
Mm.
for life on the internet. They'll try to create a persona that they don't have on the internet, which weirdly enough is like a double-edged sword because it
Yes.
kind of plays into the whole
Yes.
illusion as well. And even with us as women, and how we look to men as like, oh, if you don't have money, you're not bringing anything, and that
Right.
and the third. I actually also see that as going back generation wise.
Mm-hmm.
From my perspective, what I understand is, for us as women, we've seen a lot of times our mothers, grandmothers, aunties being put in a situation where, because they didn't have money, they were stuck in very abusive
Yes.
situations.
Yes.
And it's almost like the way we decided to deal with that was to go to the other extreme, where everything was about financial freedom.
100%.
And then now we have the money, so we fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So now men, like, you're nothing,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Which again doesn't fix
The
the
problem.
problem.
Yeah.
So I think like there's so many factors that feed into it, and it gets very tricky
Mm-hmm.
on how to actually approach it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
where do you start? Where do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very interesting one.
I mean, one place you can sort of start from is probably even the hardest part, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
is just being so open. It's just being open.
That was actually my next question about why
Go
is
on.
it so hard for men to
Okay, cool. Why is it so hard for men to
be expressional, to show their emotions?
And are you directing this to like to women? Is this in general?
In general, amongst their friends, amongst, whether it's their family,
Mhm.
whether it's to females, like, why is it so hard for men to just show that they are emotional,
Okay.
or that
Let
they
me-
have emotions?
I think let me start it on like men to men kind of thing. And then I'll
Mhm.
probably like trickle down to women, to be honest. Why I think it's also easier for guys to be friends with guys, in a sense, is because we don't always have to talk about deep stuff. We don't, if anything, it's because like, I know you're a guy. So do we really need to start talking about our feelings right now? No, not really.
That's the
how's
problem,
things?
though.
100%. And I get that. Don't get me wrong, right? But it's in a way a breath of fresh air, because to a degree, depending on how close the person is to you,
Mm-hmm.
usually you know when to sort of like ask a question or be like, yo, my guy, like, you good? What's the story? You know what I mean? And now that's obviously up to the guy on how much he's going to tell. You get what I'm saying? But for the most part, guys aren't just like open about talking about things anytime, anywhere. You almost have to like set the scene a bit better, you know?
Okay.
Women, you want to talk about it. We could be at the restaurant. We could be playing bowling or whatever. You want to start asking about feelings and whatever. Babes,
Yeah.
like, that's the thing. You see what I'm saying? Like, don't make me dive into like this dark well. Let me not call it dark all the time, but like, don't make me dive into this well at this moment, because it wasn't even something that was on top of my head. Now I have to sort of open this lid and sort of now start to like put things together before I even start answering this question. And then again, now, depending on how I answer this question, you start feeling some type of way of how I've answered it. Now here I've jumped to like the women's side, right?
Okay.
But back to the guy side for a bit. But that's what makes it easier, because we can just have conversations, just keep it very like calm, talk about sports, talk about different interests or whatever. And sometimes based on certain conversations, you can tell whether or not like your guy is good. You know, you'd be like, okay, cool. Like, he's good enough at least to keep going. That's a bad way of looking at it. I know. But again, you have to understand that like I have to answer this from a point of like what it's been my whole almost 30 years of life, if you get my point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was not 10 years old, 15 years old talking to my friends about my feelings. We were not crying to each other about whatever. No, Susie did this and that. Those weren't things. You know what I mean? Like, zero. She broke your heart. Fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kept quiet about it. You just be like, hey, my guy, let's go drink, like, dog. Like, let's go take some shots, you know? And that's just sort of how you handled it. Now, right now I do have a few male friends, very few actually, that I could probably talk to about my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting part is I probably, not even probably, I have more female friends I am more comfortable talking to about my feelings than I have my male friends.
Mm-hmm.
I believe why that is the case is because they've been more open to me about their feelings. And so that makes it easier for me to then sort of like
Okay.
give a piece here and there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about this, talk about that, talk about this. Because guys who we're not going to spill the whole beans at once, like as we get closer, okay, I'll give a bit here. Okay, then I'll
Why?
give it 20%. Because it's fear. I don't know what you're going to do with the information I've given you. I'm giving you the most vulnerable part of this topic. If I have to talk about my heartbreak and whatever, that is a very vulnerable topic
Okay.
to me. So I don't know what you are going to do with that information. I don't know if there's a friend of yours that you're very close to that you feel it does not matter what I tell you. You're still going to tell that person what I've said.
Is this
I
in general or for the girls?
For the girls mainly,
Okay.
right? I don't know that. Well, I guess it could be in general, but I think it's also just for like the girl side, I think,
Mm-hmm.
usually. I don't know what you're gonna do with that information, right? And most
Mm-hmm.
times girls are easy, like girls usually have another person they usually go talk to about things, regardless of what information they've received from someone. Like there's always that one person that can hear most of the things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, don't tell anybody. Okay, I won't tell anybody. But this person's not everybody. You know what I mean? It's like
Okay.
that's how they treat it, if you get my point,
Yeah.
right? Us as guys, we don't want that person to know.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
understand that that's your number one, so diehard girl. I don't care. She doesn't need to know my business. And that's sort of why now we're like, whereas if I don't even know who that person is, because now I don't know if that person knows the person that wants the worst for me, or that is friends now with my ex's new man, or shan, and all of a sudden now the information that I've given you about my heartbreak has now reached the wrong
Okay.
ears and whatever.
Fair.
You get what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
obviously it's this whole idea, this whole fantasy that like, oh, it could, dark fantasy rather, that like it can all end up in the wrong hands
It can
and it
backfire.
and it destroys our life kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
How often does that happen? Probably less than we think it does, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. But I think just for the fact that it's a possibility is good enough already to be like, ah, I don't want it to happen. Now, the other thing, also going back to the guys, some of my, I think this may be for like anybody, to be honest, but some of my biggest like heartbreaks, if I can say it, have been my friends, have been from my friends. Or like we were once friends kind of thing. You know what I mean? So it wasn't even
Okay.
like a relationship with a girl. It was like, oh, my friendship got destroyed.
Okay.
One that you never thought could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden now we've become not enemies, but like maybe for some you're enemies, right? And maybe for others, just like you're just not friends. What is that going to do for your mental health? You'd be like,
Yeah.
shit, I really thought we would have been boys till death.
Yeah.
And yet here we are now, don't talk, XYZ. So now, can I feel comfortable going to tell the next person about my problems or whatever? What if this person does me wrong, like the one that did da 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 da?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like this whole, I don't know, we get in our heads probably a lot more than we should. I think that's really what it is. We
Mm-hmm.
just think about like the dark side of things more than we think about like, okay, but this person could actually be, I don't want to call it like a breath of fresh air in the sense like you just sort of like trauma dump on them and then like they're supposed to
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
fix your
Yeah.
problems. That's not like how I mean it. But if there's someone that listens, I think that would probably do more good than it would do bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But like how often are we really going to listen to ourselves or listen to that part at least that sort of feels like, oh yeah, this person, I could I could tell them, I could maybe like breathe a bit, like let down the weight and just like give myself to this person?
Mm-hmm.
How many, I mean, a lot of girlfriends complain about their boyfriends not talking, or why aren't you telling me your problems? Like, then what am I here for? And da 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 da.
Yeah.
That's because most times girls aren't, here's the other problem. So a lot of times women aren't hearing, aren't listening.
Okay.
You're not listening to sort of like understand, like women have this selective hearing, and I don't know how it works. And it's like we're saying something, and then your response is like, babes, you're not hearing what I just said. Like that's not what I said. No, but that's what you said. I'm like, okay, but you just missed the first 2 minutes of what I said. Like you completely skipped over it.
Okay.
And so it becomes harder then to go back and give more, because it's like you're twisting things that I'm saying, especially when it's in a moment of like an argument, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
right? We might be having an argument and I'm like, okay, instead of us shouting, let's talk properly. You get
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying, right? Now, I'm obviously saying something. Okay, babe, listen. At first, you said XYZ and so, so, so. That is why I did ABC 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
No, but then when you did ABC 1, 2, 3, I'm like, okay, but you've just missed when you did this that made me do this. You get what I'm saying? Like there's certain parts, it's like you start missing certain points, and I'm like, okay, like where are we going now if you're not gonna hear me? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And why I know this to obviously be true is because I've gone through it, where I sort of have to go through the steps multiple times. I'm like, babe, okay, hear me out again. And then again, now when she sort of like calms down and hears, she's like, okay, you're right. Now, me
Mm-hmm.
saying this is not me now saying that I'm always right through all these moments, by the way.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? It's just that these moments do exist,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which now makes it harder for me to come talk about things that you haven't even asked me to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how guys are also. I'm not going to talk about it if you're not going to talk to me about it, if you're not going to sort of ask me about it. So I always tell people, like, I'm an open book. You just haven't asked me the question.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You just haven't come to be like, okay, what's the story with this? What did it? Obviously, I'm not saying like anybody can come ask me that question about whatever. But
By
it's
the
like,
way.
okay, like if you're that person to me, I'm an open book if you ask me the question. I'm just not gonna be like, come sit here next to me, babe. I have a few things to come tell you. When I was 15 years old, they pushed me into the river once and I almost drowned. And that was a crazy time. I thought,
That's where it all started.
like, yeah, that's where it all started. That's where my mental health, like, that's where it started to decline. I had no idea. We're just not going to do that, And I think it's hard for women to understand now, to be like, oh, I might have to like prod him a little bit to sort of get this information,
Mm-hmm.
but being very careful in how you do it. Because guys are not stupid at the same time. We also understand, like, you can't just be like, so babe, tell me, like, you know what I mean? We'll be like, nah. So it goes back to what I was saying. The environment, like how you sort of set the scene, matters to us. Make us feel safe in the moment. You know what I mean? That's the important part. I know I've said a lot here, so I don't know how you want to go about that, but there was a lot. There was a lot. Okay, let me ask you a question, actually.
Okay.
With everything that I've said, has anything popped up where you've sort of been like, oh shit, you know what? I might have seen myself maybe make that mistake when I was addressing maybe a certain issue, or maybe wanting to get a certain information, and I saw them like retract rather than like open up.
Yeah.
Of course.
Definitely like the communication aspect, which to a certain degree, I think is inevitable.
Yes.
But the mere fact of our human nature, to some degree, almost everyone is selective in their hearing.
Okay.
In the sense that it takes such intention to be sort of baseline when you hear something,
Yes.
especially if your emotions are involved. to be able to hear the full story or their version of the story without inflicting your narrative
Yes.
on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, you know what I mean? Whilst also understanding that two things can be true at once.
Right.
So your experience of something to you is 100% true, which is XYZ.
A 6 can be a 9, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So there'll be so many instances where, like, again, you're just selective in your hearing. So I do see many moments where, especially like with guys or something, and I see myself make that mistake, and I'm just like, oh damn. Where I'll sometimes be either selective with my hearing or I'll be reactive. But I've seen both sides of it, basically. So I think it's a very interesting thing, but it's also like a human thing.
100%. Yeah.
So it's interesting in how, like, should that be a reason as to why we just throw it away as a whole?
Throw what away?
The whole communication is what I'm like.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you can get what I'm saying.
I think so.
I think like with the guys, I think in general, really, because we have the fear of that happening, or you have the fear of the miscommunication, or you have the fear of things going wrong. Because you mentioned that with you guys, you see things more negatively, or you're more aware of the negative possibilities and outcomes, rather than the positive, which is why you're more cautious about things. So, like, is that really worth throwing the whole thing away? Because I feel like that blocks you off of so much experience.
100%.
And that's just not for guys. I think that's just in general. And I see that today as well. I think that's why everyone is kind of so, like I mentioned again, with like how women view money and men, and how men view women and internet and money and all. I feel like everyone is so callous protectively because of what it could cost you to actually just be open and honest.
Correct.
So I don't know. It's a very interesting one. I feel like we all just need to have some balls.
I also think that people are very scared. People don't know how to accept the truth. People also energy these days doesn't know how to react when they meet someone that will talk about certain things.
True.
You know what I mean? They'll just be like, when you're just very truthful about it. I remember this one time I was having a conversation with this lady, and she was sort of just like, I didn't expect this from you. It's like, oh, when I see you, like, I just didn't think like you'd be like this. And I was like, okay, interesting. What do you mean by that? Right? And she was like, just being very open, or like just being very, I don't know if truthful was the word she said, but like being direct rather about it, about feelings, about how you sort of view things and whatever. And she didn't know how to respond to it.
Yeah.
Because now she's like, oh, I'm usually used to like a pushback. I'm used to someone sort of being like a bit more closed off, a bit more like, I don't want to talk about, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know what to sort of do with this energy. Like, I don't know how to go about it.
Yeah.
And it was very shocking to me, because it's like when the whole chat on social media, whatever, is people should be like this. And then now when you sort of do it,
you're not ready for
now,
it.
you get what I'm saying? It's like, so, I mean, obviously she wasn't the person on the internet saying it, right? But it's like, you would sort of think, or at least I thought, that with me gaining that information, I was like, okay, maybe I should actually be a bit more forthcoming with certain things, and maybe not try to give like certain like half truths or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Maybe, so like, just say things maybe like how you might feel about it. I'm not saying that's what I do all the time, but at least I try to do it as much and as truthful as I can. Right? In as many instances as I can as well. And so when I got that response from her, I was like, interesting. But at the same time, now what am I supposed to, not like what am I supposed to do, but in a sense, where do I go from here? Like, is this now your problem? Is this my problem because I'm trying it this way, and maybe the world is just not ready to sort of accept this. So like, how do I then move forward?
Mm-hmm.
Now, one would obviously might say that cool, you find someone who understand it and blah 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 and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the flip side, I might think, how many times would I have to go through this, maybe this
To get to
interaction
that.
before,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Before whatever. How many times do I have to sort of open myself up before I get to a point where I'm like, actually, screw this. I'm just gonna go back to being more closed off,
Mm-hmm.
being more of a dick or whatever it is. So like,
I've been in her position as well before, which is really
explain.
weird because for the longest time in my mind, especially like in relationships, I would be like, I'm someone who loves communication. You have to be someone who communicates, blah, 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 blah. Because usually the dynamic is I'm the one who's I'm the most communicative person in the
Okay.
relationship.
Yeah.
Right? So now when I met someone who was who actually really did communicate, I said, oh,
Hold on now.
I'm not as communicative as I thought I was.
Got
That's
you.
very interesting.
Right.
And I don't know how, like, I really appreciate it. I don't know how to handle it. So I've realized that a lot of our expectations are things that we've needed, but are not necessarily ready to give at that time. And because we've needed it for so long, we're not even able to receive it properly.
Right.
So I think that's a very interesting one when it comes to like the internet and this and that. So it took and still does take a lot of you have to be humble and honest with the fact that, you know what,
Very good point.
maybe I'm not as up there as I thought I was. Like, this is definitely something that I need to work on.
And I think it probably is a question you probably would have asked me in the future, like later on in this episode. But I think I'll also just start by talking about it now. And that's sort of how I went about getting to this point, or at least being more like conscious about it, which starts with what you've said. And that's that's accepting that you're actually not who you think you are.
Yeah.
In a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like we prop ourselves up a lot more in our heads than we actually are in real life.
Yeah.
Right? And so once you get to the point, at least starting at that point of being like, you know what? I'm not who I think I am, which to be honest is a good thing and a bad, and not a good and bad, but like is a light and dark thing.
Yeah.
Because it's a light thing because now you can sort of like come to know yourself,
Yeah.
right? From
Yeah.
I guess from scratch. But it's also like a scary thing because you don't know yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have to sort of break the mold of who you thought you were.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which makes it very, very scary. And that's why to me, I think I always find it very interesting when a lot of people don't like self-help books. I understand why they don't. I think for most of the books that they read, maybe they take it a bit too literally. Like, you know what I mean? Like they try to take word for word, bar for bar, and say like, I have to apply it in this sense, but forget to apply it to your actual life because that person's life was not yours. The time that the book was written also was not the same time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things. You know what I mean? And so you have to understand the context of it. Right? You have to learn how to apply it to yourself. Self-help books have helped me a tremendous amount of times.
I think it depends on the self-help book as well.
Of course. Yeah. Like, okay, so like I'm erasing things like Think and Grow Rich or whatever because those are very specific to like money and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like not those, but maybe others that might maybe help when it comes to thinking about you as a person and trying to like deconstruct who you thought you were and trying to now construct this newer version of yourself.
Yeah.
And obviously, besides these self-help books, the Bible has been another one that has helped tremendous amount.
Peak.
But the whole idea for me has been, okay, now that I've deconstructed this image, and I think I still deconstruct it as much as I can, right? For like every level, especially when like there's sort of like a U-turn in life, or at least like a pivot, like there's a shift. There's a shift in life. You sort of have to like see what that shift has sort of created. did you gain a bad trait during that moment,
Mhm.
or is there something good? Like you have to look, like you always have to like self-analyze in certain moments, right? And once you do that, I think to even get to that point, you just have to be very conscientious about it all. Like you
Mhm.
can't do it without knowing that you're doing it. You
Mhm.
can't do it without knowing that, like, oh, actually, I am not this person. I have to actually understand who this person is, because you're obviously built by a lot of different worldviews, a lot of people's views, and all these
Yeah.
different things, right? Your parents, your environment, right? A person living in Ibex or who grew up in Ibex will have a different kind of mentality and upbringing or whatever from someone maybe from China or from
Mhm.
Milai and whatever, you know what I'm saying? So like all
Yeah.
these different things. Now, does it mean that one location is better than the other? Maybe, maybe not. But you don't know that until you have to deconstruct it all
Mhm.
and then understand what it is that fits you. You
Mhm.
also have to understand what it is that you like. Now, the good thing about humans, us being around for billions of years or whatever it is, um, don't quote me on that number, obviously. Right? Just saying that. I don't want someone listening to that like, what? Billions of years? I'm like, hey, like, don't quote me on that. But is that we know certain things by birth. Like we sort of know for the majority. Obviously, if you're how can I put it? Like, I guess a sane person, you know good and bad,
Mhm.
right? You know certain ethics and morals and whatever. You know what I mean? You know, okay,
Yeah.
cool, to kill is bad. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. You know it deep inside. The body almost tells you, unless you're
Yeah.
a psychopath or whatever. That's what I was saying. Like, yeah, unless you're a
Yeah.
bit crazy, then that's a different story, right? So, like, there's a building block you can start from and sort of now then understand, like, okay, from this starting point, what is it now that this is trying to teach me? Is this good? Is this bad? If this person says it's bad, why do they think it's bad? If this person says it's good, why do they think it's good? You know what I mean? All
Mhm.
these different things. I don't know. You can have the like conversation and study about a lot of different things, from abortion to whatever. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Another thing that has really, really helped me as well is listening to a lot of psychologists.
Okay.
Very interesting. Love that topic, by the way. Psychology and philosophy, like those are the two things like I usually like just merge. I think it's also because they've taken like their life to study these things
Mhm.
and understand it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like to me, I'm like, I appreciate you for that. You know what I mean? Like, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. Yeah, like thank you. Now, some people might hate this person. I personally love him for the amount of work that he's done. Jordan Peterson, I've spoken about him
Oh
before.
yeah.
Great work that he's obviously done. And when you listen to him talk, you're like, this, I feel like this is a good model of what a human being should be, or at least the kind of intellect someone should wish to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're like, yo, there ain't a lot of niggas like you, dog. Like, you have really dedicated time to understanding what good is, what, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
how you should sort of look at yourself. And, like, yeah, you understand that there's a lot of bad, and most times we are brought up with a lot of negative thoughts in our head. So how
Yeah.
do we work about actually turning that negativity into positivity and wishing for the best for ourselves?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that's also part of where I got the whole idea of like deconstructing your current self to then, right, find
Mhm.
and mold who you want to be. Right. Obviously not an easy thing. I'm not even saying that I've even gotten there whatsoever.
Yeah.
But to just know and think like, oh, I'm conscious enough to try it,
Yeah.
I think is more important than being stuck in this in your head of like, this is just the world and this is how things are, and I'm just supposed to go about the
Yeah.
rat race, and I'm just supposed to I just die at the end, and that's
It's not
that's
my
it.
problem.
What? Wow, dog.
That's
What are
too
you
funny.
talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So like that's how at least I've worked on it, how I'm working on it, even if I can sort of like say that.
I
What about
think
yourself actually? I don't know if
in
this is a conversation that we've had before in terms of how you are working on your mental health as well, and how it's impacted your life, is impacting your life. If you feel like it's been working, if maybe it's not how you thought it was, are there people in your life as well you feel like are helping with that? Yeah.
With my mental health,
Yeah. And also
man,
just how you're going about that journey.
I just need ashwagandha. I need to bring myself on ashwagandha. I
Dog,
want
what
to
does
try
that
that
thing do?
actually.
Hmm?
I don't know.
I hear a lot of people talking
It
about
makes
that thing.
you zen.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I think it's like weed, but more
Oh, more acceptable.
holistic.
More holistic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's culturally acceptable or something. Like
Yeah.
you ain't gonna go to jail for it. Kind of
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
But no, for me, I think again the Bible, obviously,
Yeah, bro.
has been a very big one for me. I think, like you said, just being more conscious
Mm-hmm.
about myself.
Mm.
I think that's where I've been, like, since I've come back, that's been something that I've been trying to do, which has not been easy.
Mm.
But really looking and scanning, like, the things that I think about, why do I think about them? Where do they come from? The things I believe, why do I believe them?
Mm.
Where do they come from? The way that I act, the things that I like. What am I afraid of? Why am I afraid of them? What do I want? Why do I want them? What do I like? Why do I like them?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's a long list.
yeah,
It's a long
like
list to work on. Yeah.
you're looking at yourself and you're wondering, even like the good and the bad things that you have. Like, you're creative. Why are you creative?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to create?
Where they come from? Yeah.
Exactly. The things that you think are good about you. Like, oh, you're confident. Why are you confident? Why are you forgiving? Why are you
Mm.
where's this? Because especially like for the average person growing up, a lot of things is subconscious.
Yes.
You're just going through life. You're just trying to pass your grade 12, trying to make it to prom. You want that boy to
College.
like you. You want to go to that party. You know what I mean? You're in
Yeah.
dance competition for some jiggies. Chihabli bubbly. You're just
Jesus
about,
Christ,
bro.
bro.
You're just about.
Oh,
You
that
know?
is so real.
Parents are putting you in schooners.
So
You're
real.
you're just about. Next thing you know, you're in college. So like it's subconscious. You don't really
Yeah.
understand who you are. For the first part, for majority of it, it's your environment
Yeah.
without you even knowing. It's
Yeah.
your friends, it's the music you listen to, it's your parents, it's your up like you don't know. So like at some point you really have to sit down and be like, okay,
Is
where
this
is this
me?
actually
Yeah.
coming from? You know what I mean? You have to look at the parts of yourself that aren't good. You have to look at your capacity to not be good as well.
I'm exactly
Okay.
where
Gonna
you
let the light shine on me.
Hey, I'm playing games. You know?
Nah, real.
You know?
But yeah, things like that, which actually makes me wanted to ask. I don't know if that was grammatically correct. But anyways, um, that was not grammatically correct. But did you actually hear what I said?
No, and I was trying to like, wait, what did she say? What did you say?
Which makes me wanted to ask you it.
Hey.
Which makes me want to ask.
Which makes me wanted to ask.
Anyways, guys, it's been a long day.
Real.
But when was the first time you ever thought about being a man? Or when was the first time those conversations came about, and what was that definition, and has it changed?
Damn. A good question. I don't know if I can really put like a finger on it because fortunately, unfortunately, growing up sort of happened like very fast. And it had to, in a sense, obviously. I think our situation was not the normal kind. Like just growing up was not like something everybody experiences. I mean, even when we talk about people and when we talk to people about it, they're like, oh my goodness, how? When? It's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's like to
Don't
you
worry
it
about
sounds
it, bro.
crazy, but like
Yeah, it is what it is.
it is. I'm so used to it, dog.
I don't know what
Like,
to tell you.
you know? So it's a very hard thing to sort of like put a finger on it. But I I would be lying if I said high school. I think that was maybe just me wanting to grow up, like me wanting to sort of say like, yeah, I'm a man, or
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm.
Which at the same time, like, yeah, cool. I might be obviously getting to that point, and there was a lot of freedom given to me at the time, but it wasn't like I could really make a lot of decisions anyways myself. Or like even if I did, what could I really do about them? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like there wasn't really much there. But I think that probably started actually, you know what? Grade 12.
Really?
Grade 12, I think maybe 11 to 12. I think I'd like to put it maybe 11 to 12. Is where like the thought really started to hit, being like, oh shit, like you big, my boy. Like you
Yeah.
you you're a man's now. Like people are now gonna start looking at you and sort of being like, hey, yeah, big boy,
Mhm.
kind of thing, you know? Obviously there were little like moments that happened before that. You can have those moments in like sports, maybe you're like a captain, maybe you're a leader of certain
Mhm.
things, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? That help at least to sort of build that confidence and build that mentality of like being a man, being a leader and all that jazz. But doing IB, which for people that don't know is like doing A levels or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's
It's
like
A
another
levels.
kind of curriculum in a sense.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So doing IB is when you're sort of like asked now, okay, cool. What are the classes you want to take? What do you want to do? You know, what uni are you going to? And
Yeah.
yet, like a lot of these things are now put on your shoulders. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? And a lot of time for a good portion of the time of like at least the 11, 12, I don't really have an answer for a lot of them, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
because it goes back to what you were saying. You're sort of like handheld throughout life, like genuinely, yeah, handheld throughout life. You know, you're in middle school, you know, okay, cool. From 6, you go to 7. From 7, you go to 8. From
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? No one really puts it in your head, especially at that young age, to sort of be like, okay, but you know, like once you reach 12, you're gonna have to now really know what you want to do. You're
Mhm.
gonna have to pick a university that might be in a different country, you know, and you have to live alone or whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
it's not really a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you now reach this point of no return and you're like, oh shit. And worse, you find peers that know what they're doing. Like they seem like,
Yeah.
damn, okay, this one wants to be a scientist. Damn, all right. You know,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Me, I'm going to go to woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
said,
I'm gonna
"Oh,
go to NYU. Me, I'm going to go to Shan Shan. You're like,
MIT."
you know what I'm saying? And you're like, oh shit. Like, you guys kind of have it together. And interestingly enough, also, when I think about it, now we were in a lot of like black people again in like high school, right? Especially like in my intake or like then maybe like as you sort of like trickle down the grades and there were more like black people being like enrolled into
Mhm.
areas. But for us, there weren't much. Like for my grade going up, like we didn't have much.
Really?
Nah,
Okay.
nah. There wasn't like you could probably count from like you could count them like maybe even one hand or something. Like that's why Q5 was Q5. Like you get my point.
Okay.
Because we were the
Okay.
only black
Okay.
niggas, like that
Okay.
was it. You know what I'm
I
saying?
hear
Everybody
that.
looked at us just being like, the niggas. Like obviously they didn't say that. Like, I
They
mean,
thought it.
some let me not even lie. Some definitely did say the N-word here and there. It flew around. And that's why we even came up with the name Q because some called us, some said blacks. They just called us blacks. You know what I'm saying? You're
In
like,
Zambia.
Doug. And you'd be like, okay, interesting. So now we came up with the name for ourselves. Now, obviously, now we start to look like a clique because a gang, if anything, because now it's like, oh,
Fair.
you're 5 black kids, only ones, you know, as
Mhm.
guys. And now you guys got a name, you're always hanging out together and yada, 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 you know what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
like, ah, obvious. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, yeah, that kind of thing. But, you know, looking back at it, I don't even know if you ever hear this, but Everard was the one that was, in a sense, different from us. in the sense of, how do I put it? To me, at least, it almost seemed like there was his parent had a lot more control on him
Okay.
than like all of us, in a sense, on like how our parents sort of like had guided us through life, in a sense, right?
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying one is better than the other or whatever it is, right? We all chose our path at the end of the day
Yeah.
as individuals. But I think that definitely helped and led to how he saw life and how he treated certain things and how he took certain things seriously.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Now, again, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking for the others. I'm not talking for Wengo, for Kofi, or whatever, in
Mhm.
terms of like what their decisions and what they made, right?
Mhm.
For me specifically, looking at it, it's like, oh, interesting. It's like, it's almost like, yeah, I mean, you knew what you wanted to do. Maybe you wanted to get into economics or whatever. It almost seemed like, oh, you knew maybe in grade 10 or 11, or maybe at least your parents sort of like helped guide that idea and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. Maybe they even enforced it. I don't know. Right. But definitely seems like there was a lot more of like a guiding hand, if you
Yeah.
get what I'm saying, you know? And for someone like me at the time who definitely didn't know what background, where to go, because it wasn't really like a thought. Worse, when you have interest in multiple things,
Mhm.
how do you really pick?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you really say, like, oh yeah, let me get into this? Or maybe you might think about getting into it and then you realize, like, oh, the requirements to get into this is X, Y, and Z, and you realize, oh, I might not actually have those.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Those qualifications and everything, because now is when I've realized that that's what it actually takes. You
Mhm.
know, maybe you needed a 4.0 from from grade 5. You know what I'm saying? And this is
It's a bit too
yeah, it's a bit too
late.
late, dog. This is grade 12 now. like, like I can't rewind time at this point.
Yeah.
So you start to erase, or like at least to cancel out certain paths, because
Mhm.
you obviously know you can't do it. Maybe I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe being a biologist or being or whatever would be cool. I actually do have a certain interest into it. You're like, oh shit, I got a D or a C plus in biology or whatever. You're thinking, no big school is really gonna pick me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because again, you're going to AS, a lot of people, a lot of the counselors and whatever, they try to help you think and dream big.
Yeah.
Shoot
Yeah.
high
Yeah.
for the school that you want and yada da da and all that kind of stuff. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So everybody around you is obviously thinking that you have your first, second, third choices and whatever. You know what I mean? Oh
Mhm.
yeah, everybody, people got the Harvards and the shans. Now in your head, you don't even know much about Harvard.
Yeah.
So it's like, what am I going to Harvard for? To do what? Maybe you only knew Harvard law, for example, whatever. You didn't
Mhm.
even know that there was a business side of it, or there's an XYZ side of it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, it becomes a very hard thing to sort of know and dive into. So like, it's it was wild. It was wild starting from like from that point on. But I think that's where, now remembering like, oh, the choices are really yours and they affect everything going forward. That
Mhm.
that that's where it basically started from. You go to
Okay.
uni. I mean, you obviously know this part too. You're alone, dog. You had no family
Yeah.
members that side, right? Yeah, you didn't have family that side.
Yeah.
There's no
No.
family for you that side. I
No.
didn't have family in California. I had to travel, obviously, 3-4 hour flight to the closest person to
Yeah.
me. Every decision is yours. If you're going
Mhm.
to chow your money on McDonald's in the first 2 days, you've chowed your money on
Okay.
McDonald's in the first 2 days. That's that. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, there are people that have gone to boarding school that might say, like, cool, I get that part. But
Yeah.
then maybe that might be where it starts from. We didn't go to boarding school. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
obviously my thing is a bit different. But yeah, uni is also one of those things, because you now start to decide on where you're going to live, with whom, you know what I mean, how much you're going to spend on rent and all
Mhm.
those kind of stuff. And others are richer than you are, have a bit more, disposable income and whatever. So how are you going to go about it? And how do you also imprint yourself, having, you know what I mean, imprint yourself in this society now that you sort of like moved to, with no
Mhm.
backup, and how do you make a mark in the school on yourself as well internally, to sort of make yourself feel like you're sort of doing something. Because I
Mhm.
feel like that's probably everybody's internal feeling and instinct is
Mhm.
to sort of like be someone, and not just like to yourself, but maybe like to the world. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you just want to do something where you could sort of be remembered for something,
Yeah.
depending on how,
Yeah.
doesn't matter how small, but like you just want to be like, I want to leave something behind. And
Yeah.
I think it's a bit more for us guys. Now, again, I don't know how it is for women, to be honest. I've never had the conversation, but probably more for guys because we probably think about it more in terms of like having sons, and our last name being passed down and, leaving a legacy behind and a dynasty and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And also knowing that not everybody gets to have that opportunity
Mhm.
is the scary part, is the scariest part, probably above all. And
Yeah.
maybe why it even forces us men to do certain things that we do.
Mhm.
Because now it's like, shit, it can't be me that gets left behind.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I just have to do something. And then now we turn to very drastic measures of things, whether if it's, I don't know, scamming or whatever it could be, because
Yeah.
you just want to do something.
Yeah.
But thankfully, um, I read the Bible. I believe in God, and I think knowing also that it's not about the things that you leave behind on earth, it's really about, I guess, sort of like obviously it's how you live on earth, but how you live on earth is then becomes the key to how it's going to be later on, right?
Mhm.
Which
Mhm.
in conclusion is basically like whether or not you enter the gates of heaven. And that is sort of like, it helps, to be honest, like not be so dependent on the earthly things,
Mhm.
just like, oh no, I have, excuse me, I have to make this amount. I have to be a millionaire. I have to be a billionaire in whatever, it
Mhm.
helps to sort of be like, as long as I'm good. And by as long as I'm good, I mean like as long as I am doing good and living good, right?
Yeah.
By the principles and, discipline, obedience, and all this kind of stuff. Um, it then makes you realize like actually there's a little less weight on your shoulders in terms of caring about how people will think and look at you. But it
Mhm.
also makes it a lot harder because you don't have a meter in terms of knowing how well you're doing on like heavenly things.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You like, if you're a bad person, people around you can sort of make you feel like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe I am a
It's
bad
not that
person
bad.
because like you might tell me like, okay, listen, yep, everything say. Like, relax. You know what I mean? Like kind of thing. Like,
Fair.
but like if I am doing good or doing certain things, like, is the Lord really gonna come tell me like, hello, boss? Like at least like audibly in a sense, to be like,
Mhm.
hello, like say, change, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you might have the signs, but how many people again are able to even interpret certain signs? Because
True.
a lot of us could be getting signs left, right, and center, and we're just the Lulu line the whole way through, dog. You know what I mean? But it,
Yeah.
it does help. It does help me at least be like, cool. I'm trying to do more than just be a man on earth.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I know I've said a lot there as well, but like
Mhm.
I feel like it's refreshing because it's things that I just haven't said out loud.
Yeah.
It's things that I've been
Thinking about.
thinking and practicing internally when I'm in my room and whatever, when I'm watching and I'm taking notes and I'm, watching sermons and reading the Bible and whatever. These are the things that I'm going through, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and thinking about. So it's good to sort of like spill it out and just talk about it. Yeah. Yeah.
What about your male friendships growing up, or just the male environment that you're in? How has that as well shaped your view of either being a man, or how has it helped you navigate being a man? Not just
Oh,
even on you, but I think in general as a group. Like, how are you guys navigating it together, or how are they helping you individually? Yeah, that kind of
let me
stuff.
be honest. It's not great.
Oh.
Like it's not great. Like it's not, we don't have a cool, you know what, like let's sit and really talk about like what's going on kind of thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, my G, like what's happening? You
Mm-hmm.
know, like let's talk about it or whatever. And maybe it goes back also to being like, can you fully 100% trust the person with this vulnerable part of your side and maybe get some kind of input? I also, I think the other thing for me is certain things, if I'm really going to talk about it, I might want to hear what I can maybe do about it. Now,
Yeah.
are you like the person across me, for example, whoever the person might be? Are they the person to sort of tell me, like, to know what I need to do? You know what I mean? Like, if we're both in the same situation, if we're both, I don't know, unemployed and we're on our last kwacha or whatever the case is,
Mm-hmm.
and we're maybe talking about our mental health and XYZ, as a guy, we want to know the next thing. Like, don't come cuddle me and be like, it's gonna be okay and da da da. We might want that here and there, but most times we sort of want like,
Solutions.
yo, yeah, like get me out of this, dog. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like, what happens from here, kind of thing. And so, is this person across me gonna have the answer? More likely than not, maybe like not.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it also goes back to the whole thing of like, this is maybe why they tell a lot of men maybe therapy is the way to go about things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go talk to someone who's a professional and could probably help you out of whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which, to be honest, I think a lot of us probably should do. Now, a lot, or there are people obviously that can probably go through life without it and are good, quote unquote, like
Yeah.
good, okay. You know what I mean? They can probably navigate well enough. But I think it's also more than just like needing one only when you're in the depth of
Yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I think like just having someone to sort of talk to and just like discuss certain things is important. Like whether you hit like a certain roadblock or a fork in the road or something like that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like it doesn't need to be like maybe having like suicidal thoughts and maybe that's when now you think like you have to talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that's how it's been almost portrayed for a
Yeah.
lot of our time. Like a therapist is really like, hey, when you're
Last
the, yeah,
resort.
like when you're the last of last, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But in terms of like the people around me, men, as I've been growing up, I've I've usually always had that ain't right. Right? That grammatically correct? I've usually always had? No, no.
Yeah.
Is it?
It is. It is correct.
But usually anyways, okay.
Actually, no.
You get my point, right?
Yeah.
Like usually and always then
Never
contradict, but yeah.
mind. It's not. It's
Anyways,
not.
I've usually had good male friends. Those
Mm-hmm.
that have been able to at least talk to me about certain things,
Mm-hmm.
both ways, right? Like I can say something and they'll listen, and they can say something to me and I'll listen, and we can talk about it and XYZ. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That part for sure. I think like I've been blessed to have friends like that, and I think it's the fact also that people find themselves, people are more comfortable being around me than other people. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what it is. I've always asked this question to a lot of people, being like, okay, but why? Why? Like, why are you comfortable? Both male and female, by the way, in this
Why are
case.
you comfortable?
Like, not just like, like why me? Like, what is? Because to me, it's no, like it's just it's life.
Yeah, I
But
hear
to
it.
you, like, what have you seen in this person to be like, yeah, okay, I'm comfortable to tell you that, yo, actually, like, it's wild for me, or like, oh, I haven't told anybody this, not even my family, but da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
And like now I have to think like, whoa, like why are you like, you know what I mean? Like I appreciate it, but like, why me? Like
Mm-hmm.
what have I shown you now to be like so comfortable to actually tell me this? I appreciate it, and I definitely don't take your information to other people to like go and spread it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people say that, but then I ask myself, like, how do you know that? But like, no, I feel like you just don't. And I'm like, okay, I don't, but like, how you know? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like, on the guy's perspective, we don't think that way. I'd rather just think the negative of like, you probably do it.
Okay.
You get my point,
Mm-hmm.
right? Exactly. So yeah, for the majority of my life, they've been good. But again, like I said, I've had fallouts that then just make it scary to then open up about certain things,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Because, for example, if Wengo and I had a fallout, right, and it ended our relationship completely, that's a lot of information, my dog, that you got on the board. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like this is from 2011. Like Wengo, I've known you from 2011
Mm-hmm.
to 2026. There's a lot of things
Yeah.
there that have happened in between. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of things that have happened. And so now it's probably best, obviously, to give the person the benefit of the doubt that they won't
Mm-hmm.
then go spread it, and you can actually just give your vulnerable self to the person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which we do, when we get to the point where we're like, okay, cool, like I've sorted it out in my head and now I can talk about it, which is a bad thing that guys usually do also. We don't talk about the problem at the very moment we're having the problem. Like at the moment it's eating us. It's usually after we've sort of like worked it out in our heads, or like at the decline of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Then now we can be like, hey, my dog, I'm not even gonna lie, it's been wild. But like even me saying this and sort of talking about it is like I've kind of like I fought the demons a bit at this point. You know what I mean? Like now
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of
Mm-hmm.
like now just like giving you what's left, like showing you the scars basically. Not that it's
Yeah. Yeah.
bleeding,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
healing rather,
Yeah.
you know. And so yeah, I don't think it's great in terms of like how guys are. To a degree, I think by the looks of things, now you can tell me if I'm wrong here, by the looks of things, I still do think that we probably do a lot better as a group, like in terms of guys, than sometimes women do. Because,
In general.
y'all be, dog. I women, like, I understand why, like, your friends group don't last. Like when you're a more than four or whatever, three, four, five,
Mm-hmm.
it just makes sense like why y'all don't last, because y'all talk too much.
Hey.
Y'all talk too much, which is the downfall of things. Because now it goes to someone else who then knows somebody who then da 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 da, and all of a sudden it's like, and like a lot of different things. I think like y'all don't address the person directly. Y'all usually like hopscotch around the person
Oh,
rather
okay.
than like talking to the person. Like this is the issue I have with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll talk, we'll say it. My G, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I heard about the shit that you said to woo 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 woo, and I told him I was gonna talk to you about it. What's up? Now
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about it. You had an issue with me. Let's talk. No, you know what I'm saying? Like we'll talk.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a fallout. It's calm. We might be friends maybe later on, or maybe then we've addressed it. Cool.
Yeah.
But like, nah, women, I see it too many times today. Even I'm sure I can scroll through my contacts and be like, I could see, I
Crazy.
could go through statuses or IG stories or whatever and be like, I know that sub. I know who she's subbing. But you see them drinking tomorrow. They'll be together in the same group. They'll be doing cheers, cheers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, what? That don't even make any sense. Like, why are you talking bad about each other backstage, but then in front, like, you're
Mm-hmm.
so good?
Mm-hmm.
Then you wonder why y'all don't have friends like that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's like, nah, just be truthful. And that's why sometimes women have like women, it goes also both ways. Either have a good relationship with guys, like they have good friends, like male friends, or just
Mm-hmm.
can't get along with guys. Because guys will either just tell you, like, no, this is bullshit. Like, what you're doing is nonsense. Talk to the person.
Fair.
That's why Keeks and I are close. Because Keeks is like a nigga. Like, she'll tell you straight up, nah, what you're doing is bullshit. Like, fuck all this. Like, you're being a child. Like, whoa. She won't try to wishy-washy around someone, whether male, female, brother, sister, cousin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's not going to do that, none of that. And that's why she just gets along with us, the guys, like that. While on other ends, it's like, hey,
Not so much.
what's happening?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, that's basically I think how it is just as guys. It's an up and down thing. Guys usually just have a very small circle in terms of who they just open up to rather than like sort of like talk and spread. We also don't personally. I know a friend who has conversations, whether if it's like relationship conversations or whatever, with like parents and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think guys usually do that. At least I don't like that. At least I've had the conversation with mom. I've had a few conversations, obviously, about relationships and whatever. But like, it's not something that like I'm, gonna talk to her about all the time. If I'm talking to someone and I like them, like I really like them, I'm not really talking to her about it until like maybe we've jumped into the relationship or something. Then I'm like, oh, you know what, ma? By the way, like, yeah, I've been seeing somebody. Like we just don't do it until I think we're a lot more sure. I think it's also because parents to guys are expecting, like, if we're having that conversation, it's like, oh, it's serious. Like, oh,
it has to be the final one.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
You
Like,
can't do it
this
5
someone
times.
that, like, you get my point. Like, you can't really, like, yo, ma, this is another, this is babe number 5. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh my goodness,
In 1
I love
year.
her. This is the love of my life. Oh, she'll look at me now and be like, Alo, what are we doing, dog? Like what the fuck? Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So it's more of like, I just have to be, I want to say like, I have to be sure about it, because that almost like removes the idea of like having open conversations. But I try to at least to have put more thought into it before I just brought it up like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, interestingly enough, she doesn't ask questions.
She really doesn't.
She doesn't like, oh, like, so what's the story? Like, who are you talking to? Who's in your life? Like, is there someone you're interested in? Like, those questions never come up.
Yeah.
So then I'm, again, open book, you just haven't asked me.
Fair enough.
You get.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so it's that thing. It's like, I'm open, you just haven't asked me. So like, I'm not really going to spill the beans. Like, I'm not really a newcomer.
But I'm accepted nevertheless.
Exactly. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Fair enough.
Super, super interesting. I don't know if you have one more question. I feel like we've rambled.
Yeah, I think, what do you think, obviously, from what you've noticed amongst men in general, men in the country, you growing up, whether it's our fathers or whatnot, what do you think, or would you like to see improve in the male community in terms of
another good one. That's
mental
another good question.
health?
Well, one, starting with taking the month seriously. Now, I'm obviously part to blame, because there's nothing that I did this month. There's nothing like, there's no awareness that I brought to it. I didn't, like, I might have posted about it maybe once or twice, but it's not like I had a conversation with anybody. It's not like I tried to do anything. We literally have a platform, and I'm ashamed to even say it, but like, besides this episode, nothing else has really been done. So I think, for one, at least, instead of like saying like, oh no, we should always be serious about it, which is obviously the end goal, but you always have to, like, at least start small, bite-sized steps, to get to the finish line. So yeah, the first thing will probably be just doing more real work. Real work means maybe more, I don't know, actual seminars, actual workshops, or stuff like that, that are a bit more meaningful. And I think this also is a call out to people that actually have influence amongst our society. Like big people, big men and whatnot. Now, I think to them, it probably is maybe even less of a thing, like an actual thought. I don't know, because obviously, like, the further back you go in terms of generation, the less it was really like an actual thing brought up. So it might even be harder for them, but they are in an actual position to actually call people together and make something happen. Right? Now, guys, for you guys that are listening, it does not mean that you yourself can't do something. right? Doesn't mean that you actually have to wait for someone to do something. I'm
Mhm.
just saying that they probably have an easier chance of
Yeah.
bringing a bigger group or whatever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You probably have the funds, the backings of other, influential people and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I think seeing more work from them, um, I think I also take it upon myself, to be honest, to actually reach out to certain people and be like,
Mhm.
yo, let's see, like, what can we actually do? Can we talk to certain people? Maybe can we go to, I don't know, schools or whatever, and maybe find a
Yeah.
way to um, have certain discussions or whatever and see what we can do about um, men's mental health. So, yeah, just being more open about the fact that it's an actual thing, and men being more open about it, you know? Um, I think also what helps, if I'm being very honest, which I don't think you'll also realize the kind of power that you'll have in men's lives if done correctly, also, of just making us more vulnerable, more open. I am who I am in terms of being more open and me being more vulnerable because of the women around me,
Mhm.
because of having you around, because of having mom around, Mono around, the friends around me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, people ask me, oh, like, why do you have female friends? Like, oh, you can't have female friends or platonic
Mhm.
female friends and whatever. I'm like, oh, you definitely can. Like, that is a sure thing. It's 100%. Like, there's something wrong with you if you can't, to be quite honest. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because these people have helped me even think about things that I couldn't think about from my perspective as a guy.
Mhm.
Like, now I'm seeing these things and I'm like, oh, okay, actually, now that I see it that way, it even makes it easier for me to communicate with women because I've seen it now from a different
Mhm.
perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've told me something, so now I'm like, oh, I get it. So if I hear it the next time from someone else, I know how to talk about it. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? I know how to go about it and be like, oh, okay, my sister spoke about that. And this is how she felt, and blah, 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 blah. So maybe the question I can ask now can maybe relate to the conversation we had, to see how that also affects and relates to you. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's helped me tremendously throughout a lot of conversations that I've had. So that's just a tip on your ends in terms of, like, you guys have the power, and never forget that. Like, never forget that you guys have influence in men's lives. Like, so much influence, so much. We might be like hard headed and be saying XYZ and whatever, and we might act like we're strong and bold and whatever, which, again, like, we are, and society tells us we need to be. But we're not bulletproof. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? There's a moment where we need to take down the shield, and we can only do that when we feel safe. And most times, that safety comes from the environment that you guys create. And that's
Mhm.
why, if you notice, when certain breakups happen, it can hit men like a really different way compared to women,
Mhm.
because now it's like that world has shifted. Because who do you go to now for it?
Mhm.
You had one person, you know what I mean? Yeah, that one
Yeah.
person you could go to. Everyone else is like, yeah, that's my nigga, but, like, I'm not really gonna talk to my nigga about certain things I can talk to my babe about. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Mhm.
So now you lose that, then what? You get my point? So,
Yeah.
like, that's why it hits like that. But anyways, a shift back to, like, just guys. Even I think in our own small groups, I think just still asking whether or not you know that the response you're gonna get is gonna be half-assed or whatever. I think just trying to make it more and more of a thing and making people more comfortable. And I'm saying this because I know that I don't do it, but I'd like to start doing it, of just asking, you know, yo, you good? Like, hey, I remember, like, I think we also are very bad at seeing these signs. Y'all probably might
Mhm.
pick up better on it, but we just don't. We probably just brush it off a lot more. You know what I mean? We're just like,
Mhm.
yeah, laka, yeah,
Yeah,
you're
just
good, dog.
okay.
Yeah, just okay, dog. And so, as guys, we just need to take a better initiative of learning and understanding these cues. Being like, oh, hold on, he said that I should probably not take that lightly. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like, oh, someone said that they're burning out. Like, okay, cool. People get burnt out. But wait a minute. Like, a burnout is not a small thing.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. Hold on. Like, let me check on my boy real quick. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you get what I mean? You know? And so, yeah, I think we just need to take a more um, initiative in doing things rather than just posting things and thinking that we've hit a quota. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I posted. So, like, I believe in it.
Mm-hmm. It
You
should
know what I
work.
mean? Like, yeah, I've done my part. You know, like,
Yeah.
nah, do more. Like, try to do more. Try to have those conversations and all that kind of stuff, right? Um, it also goes back to like when we're talking about Women's Month or Women's Day, like whatever it could be, like in relation to women, of how like certain women have been like, okay, you've posted about it and you're coming to talk like you've done something, but do you even have the conversation with your friends about it? With
Yeah.
your girls, with your sisters and whatever? Is that, do you talk about, you know, what's happening in the world, rape, and how people could be, you know, could do better,
Mm-hmm.
certain ways that men can go about, you know, ensuring safety for the women around them and blah, 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 blah. Just
Mm-hmm.
because you've gone and posted whatever, what does that mean? Do you even know about breast cancer and the statistics and what can be done? You just go post
Mm-hmm.
like a pink ribbon and whatever you think you've done the job.
Yeah.
Like, you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's more than just showing your thousands of followers that you've done something and actually doing something on the ground,
Yeah.
you know? And obviously a lot of us, or probably all of us we've done less than we can, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in some way, shape, or form. But I believe in humanity for the majority of part that we can do and strive to be a lot better. Um, yeah. Yeah, before we even reach like a whole 2 hours on this episode or something, because we're actually probably getting close to that. And I
Yo.
still gotta edit this. Jesus Christ. But
Good luck to you.
dog.
Ta.
But I've been talking a lot, so it might be easy. There isn't a lot of, you know, like too many like bam, bam,
Yeah,
bam,
not
bam,
that
bam.
much.
Like all that back and forth. But for the people that have listened this far, I really do appreciate it. I have said a lot of things that I haven't even shared with the people around me, the closest people around me. And I hope you guys can gain something from it. I hope we can do something as a community to just better the world one person at a time, to be very honest. I appreciate you, Nicole, for being on this episode, for asking the questions and
Of course.
opening my mind to, you know, the shortcomings of myself and humanity, but also the potential that we have to actually just be a lot better. And also just like not thinking about ourselves so much.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's just too much of that. And I get why. Yes, sure, there's social media's killed our mind and we want to make it in life, but we're less happy. So
Yeah.
that must mean something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so something has to change. And I think that comes from just thinking less about ourselves and more about like how we can do more for the people around us. And I think you feel happier when you do good for people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, why shouldn't that be something that we just strive to do?
It's better to give than to receive, the Bible says.
Amen. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of Scary Hours. This has been a very long and insightful episode, probably our longest one at this point. Yeah, once again, Nicole, thank you very much for this one.
Of course.
We'll
Thank you
definitely
for
have another
having
one
me.
anytime, all the time. We'll have another one. We'll flip the script, maybe even just have it on just mental health as a general thing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe yeah, maybe even just talk, maybe even try to have like a one, like pinpointed on like one thing in terms of like mental health, because mental health is
that's
like
a
so
wide
broad,
scope.
right? And like,
It's,
that's why
yeah.
this episode is so big, like it's so long,
Yeah.
because it's just like
And just all over the
it's
place.
all over the
really.
place, you know. Like, you can
So,
talk about so many different
yeah.
things, but I think it's necessary that we had to talk about so many different things so that later on you can easily now come back to
Yeah.
certain things, you know, because we're going to have had an episode, I think, where we spoke about it. And now that you and I have now spoken about it, especially from like different perspectives, the future episodes again can be like a lot more like
Mm-hmm.
pinpointed on things. And yeah. Anyways, let me stop rambling because I've gotten into a whole mood of like where I can talk about whatever when it's like almost like a truth serum and be like put in like my cup, you know? It's like ask any question, I'll tell you. You don't have to force it out.
Ask me anything.
Ask me anything. I'm gonna tell you.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna just tell you.
Oh yeah. It's like don't ask me. I'm gonna just tell you. Don't worry. Sit down. Once upon a time. Nah, but anyways, guys, thank you. Appreciate you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And happy mental men's mental health.
Yeah, real that one. Scary hours. Turn the cameras off, please. Dog.